It's changed, so people go for used or go for new. But this year, I think new will continue to recover. Used will be under pressure. Used car dealers might find it difficult to buy and sell used cars.
So good to have you still with us here on eNCA Drive, whether it's a new car or the second-hand market. Without a doubt, the first place you're going to go to is AutoTrader. All the information, all the stats, all the beautiful pictures, the car reviews. And here we are in the studios of AutoTrader, looking back on 2022, looking ahead to 2023. Maybe you've made a decision. Maybe after our interview with their CEO, George Mienie, you might be changing your mind. So why are we talking to George? One, I want to get the thoughts of what 2022 as a market looked like for the vehicle industry in South Africa. What sectors stood out? What vehicles stood out? What should you be looking for? And he looks into his crystal ball as well for 2023. But also, we have to talk about the Asian invasion. What do I mean by that? Well, here is George Mienie. So George, one of the big things we want to talk about is the influx of Asian and Chinese cars, which we'll get to in a moment. I just want to sort of just zoom out for a moment. Second-hand car sales, the market for 2022, good or bad?
I think it depends on the context, Gareth, and thank you for having me. It's always nice to talk to you. Depends on the context. What we're seeing is a shift a little bit to the new car market, and that's been happening post-pandemic. It's just been slowly gaining momentum. Our platform is still growing double-digit. We saw about a 16% growth in visits last year, but the conversion into actually buying used cars is flattening off. That's what we're seeing. So people are still interested, but the conversion is flattening off. I think used car prices rose during the pandemic and slightly post the pandemic to a point where now it's cost prohibitive. That's a recipe for used car prices to come down, and we'll get to that I'm sure a little bit later on. But new car is nice and buoyant. New car has grown by roughly 14% in 2022. New car sales, that is. So there's this switch. But I need to contextualize that in the whole pie is not growing, significantly growing. It's growing subtly, but it's not growing. And in the context of Asian and Chinese vehicles coming into the market, it means that anybody who has success in the new or used car market actually takes part of other people's pie.
Can we talk, before we get to the Asian and Chinese markets, because I imagine at their price points, that's what we were talking about when you're looking at used car prices and new car prices, specifically for that Asian segment. Before we get there though, I'm always curious to find out on the second-hand market, vehicles. What are still the most popular vehicles that people are going for, which may translate into new vehicles, but you tell me, because I imagine what's the usual, the Polo is always a big favorite.
Very, very big favorite. So from a category point of view, the SUV, or should I say body type point of view, the SUV has always been the most popular body type. And this is a global trend. It's not only a pothole trend in South Africa. It's a global trend. Second to that, bakkies. Bakkies are very popular in South Africa. As a matter of fact, the Toyota Hilux is the most popular model on our platform. New car sales, the Toyota Hilux beats everything else. Second to that, the Polo, the Ranger, the 3 Series, and the C-Class. So those are the most popular models in the market. But as a category, SUVs are the most popular.
And this is where it's interesting, because now we start talking about SUVs, and now it pulls us back very nicely to the Asian market, the Chinese cars, if you will, because, and I hope I say this right, the Jolian, I think is how you say it, the P6, whatever else there is, and the Cherry, and there's a few other names. Those, to my mind, not knowing much about the car segments, those are SUVs. So now what you got is the SUV, which is the body type that's so popular, and at price point, new, which must be dangerous to the second-hand market.
Well, I mean, we can get to the danger bit, because I have a bit of a view on Chinese or Asian market cars. But Haval and Jolian alone have grown by over 300% in the last 2 years on our platform in terms of popularity. To put that in context, about 4 million views of their cars in the last year versus 1 million 2 years back. So almost a 4-fold increase. I'm obviously rounding the numbers, but about a 300% increase in popularity of the Haval and the GWM. To contextualize 4 million views of their cars, that is in the category of Isuzu, Suzuki, and some other brands, which rank approximately 15th, 16th on our platform. So they're growing exponentially, and it's because of the price point, number one, and the technology in the car. If you look at those cars, their tech is up there with most other vehicles.
That's what people want. They want the gadgets.
Exactly, they want the gadgets, they want the comforts and the niceties inside the car. And the car looks good. You can't tell me that a Jodian doesn't look good. It looks good.
Now, you're saying that you had a theory on that. So can we draw any direct correlations, even if it's not exact numbers, between people going, well, if I'm going to spend, and I'm going to throw a brand out there, let's say it's 600,000 Rand for a second-hand BMW X3, premium German car, they'll run forever, out of warranty, fair enough, versus what is a Haval Jodian going for new these days? The Super Lux, you're in for half a bar, maybe just over. You've got to start looking at the Haval from that price point.
So, I mean, remember, every new car that gets sold comes with a warranty. So, you know, at 500,000-600,000 Rand, you're getting a manufacturer warranty versus a second-hand car. I'm not dissing second-hand cars. I mean, we're a used car platform. But it's the reality of the situation. We are hitched to German brands as a country, as consumers in South Africa. We are hitched to German brands, and I think a lot of people around the world are, except maybe the Americans. We're hitched to German brands, but the Asian market cars have to pass tests to get into the country. There's the eNCA rating tests. There's a whole bunch of hurdles that cars have to jump through in order to get onto our roads. Now, if those regulations, call it, are at a sufficiently high level, why are the Chinese or Asian brands necessarily looked down on? Toyota is one of the most popular cars in South Africa, the Toyota Hilux.
It's not a premium brand.
It's not a premium brand, but it's got the volumes, and and it's not from Germany. So there's a classic example of a brand that has really taken Africa by storm.
How does that now change the predictions, the George crystal ball for 2023?
I think that the new car market will fully recover. I think that's kind of the thing that we're seeing in the numbers. New car market is fully recovering, and downward pressure on used car prices. So used car prices, I think, have risen to a point where people are now considering new cars because the price points of used cars are getting high, and this ebbs and flows. You know, we've seen it for the last 20 years. I've been in this business. We've seen that ebb and flow between used and new. None of the two segments get decimated. It's just this ebb and flow. As prices change, so people go for used or go for new. But this year, I think new will continue to recover. Used will be under pressure. Used car dealers might find it difficult to buy and sell used cars, and if they get in too high, they're not going to potentially make profits on the cars, but they know what they're doing. So, you know, this has happened before, 2008. Then sophisticated ways to search. When you get your results, transparency. So more and more transparency. We're releasing more and more features on our platform that give the consumer searching for a car more information. And then I think exponential growth will continue for EVs and hybrids. I mean, look at Europe, 2030, 2035. So it's low numbers at the moment in South Africa. We're seeing 200 percentage point growth in the sales of EVs and hybrids in the country. The Toyota Cross, which has taken off exponentially since it was launched, has caused this renewed, or not renewed, I suppose, the emphasis on green energy. You can still do the long distances, don't have to wait to charge, fuel consumption's low, and the price point's under 500,000 Rand. All of the magic is in that Toyota Cross, in my opinion.
It really has been an incredible season 3 for all of us here on eNCA Drive. Thank you for joining us for the last couple of episodes as well. We're going to be very busy as we go into 2023 as well. Whether last year your focus was to go adventuring, whether it was to survive the potholes on our roads, to take a look at the latest and greatest buckies, or the evolution of EV. Is that the way the world is going? Well, I can guarantee you 2023 is certainly going to be a telling year. Thanks to everyone who joined us here on the show, to all of our guests, and to you at home.